I'm Ryan Newman, and since I started with Indiana Donor Network and Driven to Save Lives, I found out that some people think that they can't be an organ donor. The truth is, anyone can sign up to be an organ donor.
Anyone?
Anyone?
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm sure. Anyone can sign up to be an organ donor. So don't count yourself out because somebody's counting on you. Go to driventosavelives.org and sign up today.
But my heart's going to you, Ryan.
Love that shirt.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to another night of iRacing action here on the National Racing Network, where tonight it will be the stars and cars of the Sim Speed Shop Premier Series. Check them out online at simspeedshop.com for, well, quite frankly, all of your sim racing hardware needs. My name is Chris Graham, joined in the booth, as always, by Mr. Patrick Byrne, and this place only about 90 minutes or so from my house, and it's about an hour or so too close for comfort for the Igdalski and Mattioli families that own this place from one Patrick Byrne. But I'll tell you what, Bizzle, Pocono, a fantastic racetrack. We know the story. It was built by Roger Ward, built for the Indy cars. Now it's a stock car palace one weekend a year. But this place is going to be really interesting tonight because outside of a guess, there may not be anything in the way of pitch strategy, which is really odd for a race at Pocono.
Yeah, this is going to be just a balls-to-the-wall race at Pocono, which frankly, you don't see very often, which is why I love the ARCA races here, because the ARCA race tends to be that kind of short, no strategy, everyone's full send the whole time when you go for the Pocono NASCAR weekend. So I'm really excited to see these guys absolutely wheeling the hell out of this track. Johnny Avila, last time he was here in the Road to Pro Truck Series, finished second in that race. So started at the back of the field in that one. Almost wondering if he's going to do it again, just start in the back for fun and make his way up to the front, because this is one of his better tracks.
Yeah, and as we'll bring up the graphics for you here so you can see where your favorites are running. This place, this race, I think is really going to be interesting. You talked about how well Johnny Avila has run here. He's only 49 points back of Kevin Dick. You would have thought Kevin Dick had this championship lock, stock, and barrel. That's not really the case with 3 races remaining. 49 points is a lot, but not anywhere close to insurmountable.
Yeah, especially once we start getting in the drop weeks. Could drop Johnny Avila's worst 2 races and might move him up further in the points a little bit. Especially if Kevin Dick has a bad night here or Johnny Avila has a fantastic night here. Especially with no strategy, it's going to be very easy to keep yourself up at the front. You're not going to have to sacrifice one stage to go get the race win.
Yes, we're starting to see cars getting on lap number 1 of their qualification runs. Following along here with the Hunter's Fried Pickles, number 7 in Newburgh, Indiana's Hunter Waters in the Will Worsler Racing Chevrolet Camaro. We'll see. Hunter Waters setting fastest lap here at a 54.658. Now Scott Wise moving to the top of the board at a 54.622 second lap. Good lap there for Scott Wise. Others with laps on the books include Tyler Seville and Lee Campbell. Inside your top 3, gosh, even your top 4 now, less than a couple hundredths of a second. Absolutely crazy as Jeff Yenish now going to go P1 in the Rayos homemade number 89 for the Bloomfield, Colorado native. Drives for Yen Sport Racing, but has the Will Worsler Racing colors on here, as well as AJ Digby goes quick time in the 14. AJ out of Alliance, Ohio for Will Worsler Racing. Has University of Mount Union Esports and also the Gas Disc Golf Club out of Bowling Green, Ohio as his sponsors on that machine here tonight.
You know, I think we need to take an NRN field trip out to maybe not Bowling Green, Ohio, but to a disc golf course. I think that could be a wonderful day of shenanigans.
Yes, it could. I am more of a real golf person myself. Well, okay, regular golf, not real golf. But Kevin Dick now moving top of the board, 53.834.
It's okay. Calling disc golf fake golf is like calling these fake race cars.
Yes, that is exactly right. Well, and Bizzle, we've gotten one of our questions answered for us here. Stage breaks tonight are, well, the stages are at lap number 10 and lap number 25. We will only have a caution at stage number 1. So 10 laps into this race, we're going to get a stage break. Where that kind of takes the strategy out of play is the fact that you could go, 40-ish laps on the tank of fuel. So at that point, if you can go 40 laps and you're going to get the caution 10 laps in, you still got to go 60. No real point in coming down pit lane unless you've got some major issue to get repaired on the car.
Yeah, and 10 laps in, you're not going to have a major issue on the car unless you get into an instant and crash the car. That would either be an in-sim issue, so you're either having hardware trouble or need to get up, go get yourself another beverage, or just stand up out of the chair and stretch and relax, because that would be the only reason I see that you come down pit road on lap 10.
Following along here with the 28 of Troy Haight. That car will be 6th quick with a lap time of 54.130 seconds. Let's pick up, oh, buddy, Andrew Moore Jr. in the Weiss Markets number 77. He's going to ping pong off the outside wall back to the inside. Man, that could be qualification run over for Andrew Moore Jr. He's 7th quick after lap 1, 54.258. As we also have, let's see, here we go, the 33 of Dean Gagliano making his way out onto the speedway. The Milwaukee, Wisconsin native driving for Gundog Motorsports, Rufus Sport MMA, and Merid Mechanical on the side of the number 33 machine. Also, looks like Fleet Farm will be the primary sponsor on the 33 tonight. Still Kevin Dick with your fastest lap, 53.834. 3 and change minutes remaining here in the qualifying session. Jim Thorndike not out on the racetrack yet. Quentin Clark not on the speedway. And guess what, Bizzle? You got your wish. The 03 of Brad Allison returning to the Sim Racers Club. He comes from a land down under.
I'm going to have to run one of the super speedways here before the end of the season, and Brad Allison is my drafting buddy.
Well, I don't think we have a super speedway. We have a Richmond and a Michigan before the end of this season. Then we get off into, well, we have a week off this week. In 2 weeks, you're going to be the A team on the shows here, as I will be en route to, actually by this time, in Springfield, Missouri, doing some work for Pit Row TV. So it'll be Bizzle and anybody else you want to get in the booth with you lined up for the broadcast.
For the Richmond race.
Yes. Hold up. The comments are coming in here from the 42 of Quentin Clark. Just drove 400 miles from the beach and barely made it in time. Fingers crossed this race ends up at least slightly better than my drop race. That's getting after it. I don't know that I would drive 400 miles to go sim racing.
I've done it. One year I did the Daytona 24. Back when I was living out in Ohio, I was visiting family in New York. Started the Daytona 24 on my buddy's sim rig in the great state of New York on Long Island. Drove my 2 stints. Drove across everywhere to get up to Cleveland. Ran some stints at the end of the race in Cleveland. I drove 500 miles in real life and 4 stints on the sim.
That's ridiculous. Let's pick up here. Let's see. Mike Larch coming around to complete his qualification run. He was 8th quick at the conclusion of lap number 1, and lap number 2 does not score, so he will remain in the 8th position, 54.255 seconds. As we are down to 45 seconds remaining in qualifying, Jim Thorndike, Brad Allison, and Quentin Clark will not get a lap in here in qualifications. So we'll just wait for the final seconds to tick off and get ready to go racing here for 70 laps, which, if my math serves me correctly, is, let's see, 175 miles here in the beautiful Pocono Mountains. That tower that you see right there on your screen doesn't exist anymore. Pocono Raceway doing a huge reconstruction project in the infield, building a brand new Victory Lane complex. But in the sim world, that's where you would be parking your car if you're going to be the lucky one to pull into Victory Lane here this evening. Field starting to get out onto the racetrack, and well, it's time for us to show you tonight's starting lineup. Starting on the pole with a lap time of 53.834 seconds will be the custom paints and diecast number 52 Chevrolet Camaro of Kevin Dick, driving for Pie-Eyed Motorsports. Lining up to his outside, the Will Worsler Racing University of Mount Union Esports Gas Disc Golf Club, number 14 AJ of AJ Digby. Sitting only about 70 thousandths back. Good runs here up towards the front of the field. Row number 2 will have the Team ZSS.com Chevrolet Camaro of Braden Carroll in the 24 out of Layton, Utah. Zeem Speed Shop and Money Shift Media on the quarter panels of that one. Lining up alongside of West Virginia's Tyler Seville, driving a Toyota Camry for Will Worsler Racing with Chubby's and Hunter Fried Pickles as the sponsors. Row number 3 will have the 29 of Tennessee's Will Worsler and the Bulldog Roof Works Chevrolet Camaro, lining up alongside of the Woodfather, number 28 Chevrolet of Troy Haight. Row 4, the Mach 5 Design Go Speed Racer Roger Rios in that Chevrolet Camaro out of Aguadilla, Puerto Rico for Riot Motorsports. Also has Superior Templating and Sim Coaches as sponsors. Good looking paint scheme this week for the 2 of Mike Larch. That Ford Mustang carrying champion colors, but an absolutely gorgeous looking paint scheme there. Looking forward to seeing that one out on the racetrack. Row number 5 will have the 77 of Andrew Moore Jr. out of Pennsylvania in the Weiss Markets Ford Mustang, and the JW Racing number 8 of Justin Rideout. Scott Wise in the Bass Pro Shops Tracker Boats number 31 Chevrolet Camaro alongside of Jeff Yenish's Rayo's homemade number 89 Ford Mustang for Will Worsler Racing and Yensport Racing. Row 7, the Hunter's Fried Pickles, number 7 of Hunter Waters out of Newburgh, Indiana. Also has Lost Chevrolet on the side of his Will Worsler Racing Chevrolet Camaro. 33 of Dean Gagliano out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin in the Gundog Motorsports Rufus Sport MMA Merit Mechanical Chevrolet will line up on the outside of row number 7. Row 8 tonight will have the Mountain Dew Zero Sugar, number 4 of Lee Campbell, lining up alongside of the 23 of Richard Smith, the second out of Harmony, Ontario, Canada. For Showtime Racing, Apex V2R Canadian Sim Racers, Ottawa Grief Care Plus, Kneading Bowl Foods Advanced Sim Racing Track Racer, Chantal Dumont RMT, Ashton Dixon Youth Empowerment Foundation. A lot of sponsors, we got them all in. Row number 9, the 43 of Richard Fletcher, and the 42 of Quentin Clark. Brad Allison, unfortunately, not able to make the green flag, but the rest of the field will. Green flag's out. Run away. Starting to fan out a little disappointed that we're not going to be 6 wide with our hair on fire. Big move by Brady Carroll down to the inside of the racetrack. He'll go 2 for 1. Kmart Blue Light Special. Now Kevin Dick having a look back to the inside. They'll get to the 9-degree bank tunnel turn. Designed after the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Used to be you couldn't go through there 2 wide. Now 3 groups are racing with how these cars have started to shake themselves out. And into turn 3 based off the Milwaukee Mile. Almost board flat. A fantastic look at the field as they come past here on lap number 1. So Bizzle, we get 1 lap in the books. Everything is clean and green thus far. But I tell you what, if you want to think about making a move towards the top 10, you're going to have to get doing that. We see Jeff Yenish looking inside of Roger Rios. Not a lot of time here before the stage caution is going to fly.
Yeah, right now the pressure is on. This is when we see Pocono at its best. You see wild moves going into the tunnel turn. You see 3 wide racing going through turn number 3. And then you see them fan out 7, 8 wide down the front straightaway, looking for anywhere they can to try and get a run in a car, get the huge draft, and swing out as far as possible to get a run in turn 1.
Kevin Dick sets a new fastest lap of the race. Still going to be a side-by-side battle between Rios and Yenish, but Yenish gets the good run up to the outside of the racetrack. Even so far as to get ahead of Mike Larch, now with a little bit of drafting help down the Long Pond straightaway. Man, he's going to try to get around Troy Haight too, and just up ahead, another big gaggle of race cars here. Tyler Seville, AJ Digby, Will Worsler, and Justin Rideout. A little bit of a moment there for Rideout exiting turn 2. Oh, buddy, wow. Everybody getting squirrely, seems like, off at turn number 3. They're 3 wide through turn 1.
You just don't do that.
No,
oh, man, as their cars making a little bit of contact back there. Scott Wise and Troy Haight getting into each other a little bit.
Yeah, that kind of backed everybody up. Roger Rios really got shuffled out to the high side as Haight had to grab the binders. Now that's starting to settle down a little bit. Troy Haight making up some ground on Scott Wise. Man, we've got action going on all over the racetrack here. Jeff Yenish and AJ Digby battling. Mike Larch now coming around AJ Digby as well. I wonder if we're not seeing some fuel strategy here out of AJ Digby. Because the car was pretty quick in practice. Now Will Worsler outside of Justin Rideout. Jeff Yenish going to try to get there as well before they get to turn 2. Mike Larch going to be there as well in the 2. Oh, Troy Haight almost got into the back of the 2. Worsler going to have to watch here because you do get a little bit of a push at the exit of turn 3. Man, saw it there. May have been Andrew Moore almost getting up into the safer barrier. They talk a lot about how, especially in the old days, you would have to kind of compromise one of the corners. And a lot of times it was a compromise of turn 1 because you needed the speed off of 3 because that front straightaway is just so long. Anymore, you can really dial the setups in and make it work in all 3 corners, but that's not always the case with a fixed setup like we see here, especially ones that tend to run on the tight side. Turn 3 can really become a bear for these guys. Even tires could come into play towards the end of the stint.
Yeah, but a tight setup isn't going to hurt you so much in turn 3. Just everyone's going to be doing the same thing. Where it's going to hurt you is turn number 2. Just because turn 2, it's very easy to get the car to jump up a lane over the bump. Now you have a tight handling race car, all of a sudden that thing wants to go straight through that corner.
I'll tell you what, the 2 at the front here have got it figured out. Kevin Dick leading Braden Carroll by 0.6 of a second. It's another 3 seconds back to Tyler Seville running in the 3rd position. And there you see, it's going to be 3, 4 is Will Worsler, 5th Jeff Yenish, 6th Justin Rideout, even 7th and 8th place Troy Haight, Mike Larch. All right there battling. Haight looking inside a Rideout now through 2. AJ Digby may have made some contact with one of the safer barriers because that car is back to the 18th position and 13 seconds off the pace. The one that's really interesting though, this cat right here, Hunter Waters, is in no man's land. 28 seconds back of the race leader already. You could try to save fuel all you want. If you go a lap down, you're in trouble.
I don't think he's at risk of going a lap down, though. He is trying to save as much fuel as possible. Especially knowing we're going to get this caution, there's almost no risk at all to this, because he's going to be caught right back up to the field.
Go extreme fuel save, but where's the benefit to it, though? You can't make this. Everybody's going to make it on one stop. There's no way that you're going to make it on no stops.
No, he's not going to make it on no stops. But more importantly, he's saving tires. So after this yellow flag, if he doesn't pit and nobody else pits, they go back to green, he's going to have much fresher tires compared to everyone else because he hasn't used them at all. So they're going to last a lot longer. He's going to push past that lap 40 that everyone's going to pit, not be as hurt by taking the overcut, and then have fresher tires towards the end of the race as well if we do get a late race yellow or if he's just got to run his way up through the field.
Race leader Kevin Dick comes down and he will see 1 lap to go here in stage number 1. There you see the gap. That 52 machine has been absolutely spectacular here tonight. Lots of good battles, but it will be green and white checkered flag. No contest here at the front. Kevin Dick picks up the win. In Northland Leisure, stage number 1, caution flag is out. Now, where things get interesting to me, Bizzle, is are we going to see anybody come down pit road here and possibly try to make this a two-stop race that you just go absolutely full tilt on?
I just don't see it working. That front straightaway is so fast, so long, and there's so much time you're stuck going 55 miles an hour down pit lane when the rest of the field is approaching 200 going down the front straightaway.
Yeah, but I'm saying under this caution.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you could pit if you wanted to. But I'd rather save those tires in the box for a late race caution. This track, while we don't get a lot of cautions here, they do occasionally happen. And when they do happen towards the end of the race, it's usually a big one like we see at Talladega. Usually it's a single car spin, then you only got 10 laps to go. Everyone's right on the edge, and someone bends it and takes out a whole ton of cars. On that caution that takes out a whole ton of cars, if I still got a set in the box, I'm going to take them. What's the worst that's going to happen? I'm going to go from 7th position to 10th. The other 9 cars in the field are wrecked out. So now you got that fresh rubber and can make some moves in turns 2 and 3.
It's a great point as we're picking up Hunter Waters here in the 7. He's still 25 seconds back. Race leaders are coming out of turn number 2, and he is just crawling his way around. This is a best case scenario. If you're Hunter Waters and trying to save fuel, it took 2 laps for the field to get caught up to the iRacing pace truck. That's fewer laps that you have to run at speed here. They're trying to get caught up. I'm starting to feel like I'm liking the call here that Hunter Waters is making. What it is, I have no idea.
Well, the call he's making is where everyone here has the option to come down pit road like it seems like everyone is doing. They're burning up that set of tires that they have sitting in the box for the end of the race. Hunter Waters, on the other hand, he saved those out on the racetrack in the first 10
He's on
laps.
pit lane.
Then I don't understand what he's doing. Unless he had an incident that we just missed, if he spun on the backstretch and the caution never came out.
Possibly here as we see Kevin Dick hitting the pit box. Richard Fletcher, the only car that elects to stay out on the racetrack. Kevin Dick down and away, 6.6 seconds. Top it off with fuel. And I guess that does make sense from this perspective to say, hey, I'm going to top it off. I'm not taking tires. Save both sets to the end of this thing. Get it packed full of fuel, and now basically you can go 40 laps from lap 13. That gets you to 53.
It's going to get you to 55 because we're still going to run 2 more laps under caution. It'll probably get you to 54.
Well, the field will come around and get the... they should get the 1 to go signal this time by because we do not have any cars a lap down yet. Hunter Waters
that is
up,
true.
Hunter Waters running dead last up to the 13th position. Several cars behind him electing to take tires. Justin Rideout will be the first of the cars that took tires. He was in the box for 14.6 seconds. Scott Wise, Troy Haight, Mike Larch, Dean Gagliano, and Braden Carroll also taking tires. There we go. Lights are out and the field is making their choices. Richard Fletcher electing to take the outside. So for this restart, Fletch will line up on the outside of row number 1. Second place, Kevin Dick, will line up to his inside. Row 2 will have Tyler Seville and Jeff Yenish. Row number 3, Roger Rios and Andrew Moore Jr. Row number 4, the 29 of Will Worsler and the 42 of Quentin Clark. Jim Thorndike and Lee Campbell will make up the 5th row for the restart. Trying out we're putting together some new camera packs that will be for sale on the NRN website here in the near future, and Pocono Raceway is the second of those. We debuted them last week in New Hampshire very quietly, but this week we've got some options for you. We have cameras from 1980, 1984, the year 2000, 2008, 2013, 2023. Is there something you would like to see, a certain retro-ish to a handful of laps of this broadcast? Let us know down there in the comments. We appreciate everybody that's tuned in on YouTube here tonight. Thank you for coming to hang out with us. Pace truck is in field, making their way down towards the start-finish line. Green flag is going to go in the air. We are back underway here at Pocono. Fletch able to do a nice job thus far. Clean air is king. He's going to hold the lead off at turn number 2. Jeff Yenish going to get some help with a tow. Oh, hold on to it, Lee Campbell. That car going for a big slide, exiting turn 2. Looks like a couple of cars may be involved here. Hunter Waters getting a piece. He's down on the pit access road. Troy Haight down there as well. As of right now, we stay green. Will Worsler coming around Richard Fletcher. Let's take a look here at the instant replay. See what happened here. Exiting turn 2, Lee Campbell going for a little bit of a slide. Big contact with Troy Haight, who's down into the inside wall. Hunter Waters bailing out, taking the escape road. Now as we go back to the live look, oh man, Will Worsler now. He has a big moment off at turn number 2. Something we don't give this place enough credit for, Bizzle, is how you dive off into the corners here. Turn 1, it's like falling off the side of a building into the bowl of the corner, and it really kind of spits you out. The car gets light and really can become twitchy on corner exit.
Yeah, it is. In the sim, it's incredible. I remember last year when I was standing up in turn number 1, right outside that safer barrier, looking straight down. It almost looked like I was standing on top of probably 4 or 5 story building, looking down at the ground. That banking is impressive the way it drops you into it.
Yeah, there you can see how it spits you out on corner exit too. what's interesting is turn number 2 is built up. Instead of being dug down into the ground, you kind of fall off into the corner a little bit. So you don't have that real drastic elevation change. Little bit there on the exit as you go over the hump. And turn 3 just, I mean, almost board flat.
Yeah, turn 3 is 6 degrees. It's modeled after Milwaukee,
Yes.
which I believe is 6 degrees.
Yep. And turn 1, the old Trenton Motor Speedway. The original kidney bean shaped oval. Trenton had a dog leg. I mean, you made a full-on right-hand turn in the middle of the back straightaway.
Yeah, Trenton was a road course, though.
No, Trenton was most certainly an oval.
You show me an oval that has a right turn.
Well, it's the first of the kidney beans, as we said.
Lime Rock Park is an oval. There's only one left turn there. Trenton, there was only one right turn.
That is correct. Lime Rock is a bean. The new layout of the National Sprint Circuit for the is a bean. That is all left-hand turns with one right. You can argue, but I'm pretty sure I'm going to win that argument.
It's okay.
Following along this battle here with the 42 and Quentin Clark running in the 6th position. Justin Rideout about a half second ahead or so. Will Wursler, AJ Digby, Roger Rios all close up there. And in fact, Digby coming around Wursler into turn number 3. Jim Thorndike way high, wide, and handsome through 3. That's not the ideal line around that one, but a nice run up 9 positions to get himself inside the top 10. Quentin Clark, your leader in the most positions gained award. Followed by Jeff Yenish, Jim Thorndike, Andrew Moore Jr., and Justin Rideout. Realty Executive Saskatoon, the sponsors of the most laps led. Also the Hard Charger and the most positions lost prizes. Got to say a big thank you as well to Mint Mortgage, a residential real estate mortgage. Also Real Assist, which is a real estate assisted service. Thank you to them for coming on board as sponsors this season of the Sim Racers Club. Also, got to say a big thank you to Northland Leisure Products sponsoring the stage breaks. Kudos to Custom Paints and Diecast for putting up seasonal and Grand Champion sponsorships. And Sim Speed Shop, the series entitlement sponsor, putting seasonal champion and safe driver drawing prizes. Also, Grand Championship prizes for the top 2 finishers. You can find all your sim racing hardware needs over at simspeedshop.com. Battle for second into turn number 3. Tyler Seville. He's making that high line work. Never in a million years did I think you could run that high at Pocono and pull a pass off. But man alive, Tyler Seville has the hammer down, and he's starting to chase down race leader Kevin Dick. Jeff Yenish, Andrew Moore Jr. battling for position number 3 with Justin Rideout closing in on those two. Down to 2 laps to go in stage number 2, and to remind you, there will not be a caution flag at the end of this stage, so we're going to keep racing hard here. And I'll tell you what, looking at who took tires, Justin Rideout's worked himself up to the 5th position. Outside of that, Mike Larch up to 9th. Now up in the 8th position, so past Quentin Clark. But not a lot of movement out of the guys that we saw take tires early on.
Yeah, Pocono is definitely a track where you're either good at it or you're not. Sometimes tires aren't going to help you. Some of the guys are just naturally good at this track. Ooh, as these two are making contact not once but twice down the Long Pond straightaway. But yeah, if you're just naturally good at this track, you can make old tires be just as fast as someone else on new tires.
Seeing an incident happen about 10 laps or so ago. Bring this up. How about Braden Carroll and Scott Wise? Huge into the inside safer barrier. That put Braden Carroll out of the race. That car was junked. Now heading down pit lane, the 59 to Jim Thorndike. If 45 laps is the window, you're
this
there.
Also ends. At the end of this lap will be the end of stage number 2.
Kevin Dick doing his best to hold off Tyler Seville. I think Seville's going to get close, but maybe not close enough. Dean Gagliano also on pit lane. Jim Thorndike with a little bit of damage because that car stationary for 25.3 seconds, but green and white checker goes in the air. Kevin Dick picks up the win in Northland Leisure, stage number 2. Good fight going on back here. Justin Rideout inside. Jeff Yenish, Andrew Moore Jr. outside. Yenish able to clear, and it sort of hung Moore out to dry. A little bit of aero push possibly for Rideout through the mid-corner as Yenish came down, took all that air off right at the entrance to the corner. Now Moore almost into the right side of Rideout's number 8 at the midpoint of the corner. Tyler Seville is definitely now closing on race leader Kevin Dick, and he is in draft range. You can see the ticker dropping down ever so slightly, down to 1/10.5 separating those two, as Justin Rideout comes around Jeff Yenish for 3rd. Oh man, maybe a big moment there for Tyler Seville, as he's now fallen almost immediately back to about a half second back of the race leader.
Yeah, but he has the whole length of the Long Pond straightaway. You see that ticker moving down. He's going to pick up probably 1/10 of a second down this straightaway. Down the front straightaway. They're going to exit turn number 1, and he's going to pick up probably another 1/10 going down the Long Pond straightaway. Loses it in the braking zone, though. Yeah, clearly some handling issues with that car. You saw him have to chase it up the racetrack exiting turn number 1.
So Kevin Dick able to hold on as we work lap number 28. You got to go 2.8 seconds back to find 3rd place Justin Rideout and AJ Digby. A little bit further back, Andrew Moore Jr. and Mike Larch. Larch going to have the look inside into 3. Moore going to run that high line. Gosh, I can remember going to races at Pocono where by 28 laps in, you had marbles halfway down the racetrack. And now these guys are using it as a runnable line. Is AJ Digby having the look on Justin Rideout to turn 1.
And Digby has the preferred line there on the bottom, but yeah, these guys are running higher and higher. Rideout looks to have the advantage, and he's going to have the run down Long Pond.
Yeah, you keep up the momentum on the high side. And quite frankly, that goes to credit Sam Jordan and the admin team here at the Sim Racers Club. They build the custom sets every week, and they try to build them that you can run multiple lines. You can see it here through turn 3. Digby and Rideout, one down low, one up in the middle, and we've seen cars almost out near the safer barrier. It really goes to, it's a very drivable setup. It may not be the fastest on the planet, but you can run multiple lines and not run into issues.
Yeah, and that's the most important thing with a fixed setup. It doesn't have to be super fast. It doesn't have to suit every driver as long as it's raceable. And as someone who runs a fixed setup league, even though we've been off for, it seems like, a year and a half now, that is the biggest thing with making the setup for every week, is just making sure it's raceable. Even if it's not a fun setup to drive, as long as it races good, that's all that matters.
Yeah, we're going to have to bring Fastmasters back here in the near future. Star Mazdas and Legacy Star Mazdas, Legacy BMW GT4s, just running pack races at silly racetracks. Absolute blast on Thursday nights, where the rules are made up and the points don't matter.
It's like that show from 20 years ago, except we do it on the sim.
That is exactly right.
And we have Irish drinking songs while we race. It's a win-win-win.
Yes, it is. An all-around good time, if you will. Go to the back half of this kind of train of cars that we're following in on. Will Worsler, Jeff Yenish, Quentin Clark. They have Andrew Moore just ahead. These are the closest battles here. Is trouble possibly, well, no, let's see, Justin Rideout, I believe, on pit lane. Yes, he is at lap number 32, as is Jeff Yenish. Not quite to halfway. And only 19 laps on this stint, so looks like this may be planned pit stops here for Justin Rideout and Jeff Yenish. It'll be a 4-tire change. Crew going around to work on the left-hand side for Fresh Goodyear Racing Eagles. Toucan Sunoco Fuel. Justin Rideout down and away. 14.7 seconds. 14.6 for Jeff Yenish. And one of the great things about Pocono, Bizzle, you can go make a green flag pit stop and not lose a lap in the process.
Yeah, I mean, you could probably make 2 green flag pit stops and not lose a lap. This track is massive.
Looks like Hunter Waters coming down pit lane now for his stop here at lap number 33. Will be the final stop of the race. Now these guys are taking the undercut strategy. What's the benefit to that one? Especially if you don't know if you're going to be able to go more than one green-white checker.
Oh, man. It's definitely a little bit early, but at this being Pocono, we're either going to get a bunch of cautions at the end of this thing, or it's going to run green the whole way out. So it's a 50-50 shot at making it towards the end.
Well, here's your race leader. Kevin Dick down in towards turn number 1, and Hunter Waters not in the shot. He's not that far behind your race or ahead of your race leader, but he is not a lap down. As we see Tyler Seville starting to close back in ever so slightly. mean, I would imagine the strategy for the undercut is you've made your stop. Everybody else that's going to come down pit road, you're making time up on theoretically. The reality is, though, it's going, unless you're able to make a ton of time, it's really not. The undercut works well where tires are a big part of the equation.
Yeah, tires don't really matter here at Pocono, as wild as it is to say. It does matter a little bit when it comes to long-term runs, but you're not going to pick up a whole ton of time by pitting and just taking tires. You're mostly worried about fuel here at Pocono just because the monstrous amount of fuel you can save.
So we saw Quentin Clark finish his stop in 14.8 seconds. 14.4 for Richard Smith II in the number 23 Apex Toyota Camry. And race leader Kevin Dick is on pit lane. Here at lap number 36, split the race right in half. That's the strategy we're seeing out of your race leader. Richard Fletcher also on pit lane. Fletch going 35 laps, it looks like. Yeah, he has not made a stop yet. Scott Wise, whose car was absolutely junked earlier, now up to the 7th position. So now the question becomes, does Tyler Seville come down pit lane to cover the race leader? And he will not. And Hunter Waters, yeah, that car's not in any trouble. New fastest lap of the race, 54.061 seconds. AJ Digby and Will Worsler making their way down pit lane. The Gas Disc Golf Club, University of Mount Union Esports, 14 AJ for Digby, down to the attention of his Will Worsler racing crew. And again, it will be a 4-tire change. Pocono, one of those places that is not known as a difficult pit entry. Clear turn 3, get the car straightened out, and then you make the left-hand turn and start getting on the brakes.
Yeah, this is one of my favorite pit lanes to get on because you can absolutely just full send it down there.
We've seen
Not
that
like
in the real
Darlington
world in
or-
the Indy cars.
Yeah, you're going 200 miles an hour by the time the attenuator starts, and then you slam on the brakes and have to slow down.
So now Andrew Moore Jr. to the attention of his pie-eyed racing crew. The two guys behind him appear to be having a fantastic conversation. The rest of the crew getting their work done. 14.9 seconds the time of the stop for Andrew Moore. So down to 4 cars that have not yet made a pit stop. One of those being Tyler Seville, who will stay out on the racetrack. Second place, Mike Larch making his way down pit lane in the Champion Apparel Ford Mustang. That number 2 machine having a pretty nice run tonight thus far. Qualified in position number 8. Little bit far forward, overshoots the box. Larch going to give up a little bit of time there. Larch will be down and away. Now the question becomes, when do we see race leader Tyler Seville hit pit lane? And it's going to be this time. Oh, no, it's not. He was just squirrely. Seville in the Chubby's Toyota Camry for Will Worsler Racing. Doing his best to lead some laps here, but ultimately will have to make what will be his final pit stop of the race. Is getting a little crossed up there with Richard Smith II. This time your race leader will be down pit lane. Seville's got a long way to go, and Bizzle, it does feel like an eternity coming down this pit lane.
Yeah, the pit lane here is, what, 3/4 of a mile long? In your average passenger car, a 1/4 mile, if you go from a red light and hold it wide open for a 1/4 mile, that's going to take you 14 seconds. This pit lane is 3 times that length, and you're stuck doing 55 miles an hour. It's not like a cop's going to pull him over if he speeds down here. It's like one of those damn speeding cameras. They're just going to give him the ticket, and he's got to come down pit lane and do it again at 55 miles an hour. It is brutally slow and brutally long down here at Pocono.
Yeah, and I'll tell you what, Tyler Seville gave up a ton of time. Back to the 6th position now in 10 seconds behind the race leader. More importantly, about 6 seconds behind Kevin Dick, the effective leader of the race. Scott Wise in the 31 will be the final car to have to come down pit lane, but he may get passed by the race leader before he even has to make that pit stop, as Kevin Dick is just chewing seconds out of the advantage that the 31 has. Pick up Andrew Moore Jr. and Hunter Waters battling for position number 8. They have Mike March just ahead as well. And Will Worsler kind of right behind. Even gaps, call him about 10-15 car lengths there, as Moore able to clear Waters, and he does it by a wide margin off of turn 1. So we'll pick up the 52 of Kevin Dick. As we say, the effective leader of the race is Scott Wise is on pit lane. So Kevin Dick will come around to claim the race lead, and it is now a 2.8 second advantage over Justin Rideout. Rideout has Jeff Yanish all over the back bumper. Little bit of a bobble there, exiting turn 1 for Rideout. That's going to open up the door for Yanish. We are now working lap number 43 of 70. AJ Digby, Tyler Seville off into turn number 1. Seville able to come around Digby pretty easily. Only a difference of 4 laps on the tires. Seville tried to make the long game work, and, well, it just didn't happen. He is gaining quickly, though, on Jeff Yanish and Justin Rideout to get himself up onto the podium. There you can start to see Rideout and Yanish just coming into the frame. Seville is making up that ground in a hurry on those two. Now the question, I guess, becomes, is there going to be enough time for Tyler Seville to get caught up to Kevin Dick? The gap is 4.7 seconds, and there's 25 laps to go.
You've got to get around Justin Rideout and Jeff Yanish first. At that point, he's pretty much got to hope for a caution, because I think Kevin Dick is faster on raw pace. Tyler Seville was kind of just hanging on in the draft, and that was how he was.
Well, I think there might be a little bit of draft date in this, but last lap for Kevin Dick, 54.403. Last lap for Tyler Seville, 54.293. As Seville going to make the look on Rideout into 3. Man, made that pass look easy up on the high side. Now he's going to go looking inside of Yanish. Still 4.2 seconds, and now up over 4.5 to the race leader. Digby trying to follow through. A great corner exit speed there for AJ Digby. Rideout gonna look back inside but not have the move. So now everybody's singling out, and the gap is down to 4.1 seconds between Kevin Dick and Tyler Seville. Now 3.8 and closing. Tyler Seville is on the chase in a very big way here.
Yeah, Tyler Seville picking up almost half a second since he's got in front of Jeff Yench. So, frankly, I think there's plenty of time. Tyler Seville is on a mission now.
Well, and they do talk about him being one of the best at saving tires. By the end, it could make a difference. There is a 5-lap difference in tire age between Kevin Dick and Tyler Seville, as AJ Digby has come around both Rideout and Yanish to get up to position number 3. Actually, Mike Larch having a look back there as well. He comes around more. Now he's going to work on Rideout. He'll get that pass completed. Last lap, 0.4 of a second was the difference in pace between Seville and Dick, and it was to the good for Tyler Seville. This time by 54.641 for Kevin Dick, 54.296 for Tyler Seville. There you can see the gap. It's down to 3 seconds flat. Where the story really is getting told here, though, Bizzle. Look at the fastest lap for Kevin Dick at a 54 flat. Last lap, 54.624 versus Tyler Seville, 54.115 and a 54.283 for the last laps these guys turned.
4/10 a lap Tyler Seville's picking up. I just throwing a rough number out there. Lap 15 to go, 14 to go. I think Tyler Seville is going to be side by side with Kevin Dick.
But you're talking about the fact that you gotta still pass him. That's the big thing. You can get there. That's one thing. Getting around is something entirely different.
Yeah, especially Kevin Dick. He is a guy that's kind of like Ryan Newman, that is just almost impossible to pass. Once he's in front of you, you kind of got to work him and force him into making a mistake, which he's not immune to mistakes, but he doesn't make them very often.
So I'm showing you the current lap sectors in this battle. You basically split the racetrack in half on an oval, and you get your 2 sectors. Tyler Seville about 0.04 of a second quicker through the first half of the racetrack that time. You can see the gap continues to close. And eventually, Seville's going to get in draft range. And then you're only going to see that shrink even faster. Yeah, 0.3 of a second that time.
Once he's in draft range, which is going to be about 1.25 seconds to 1.5 seconds, it's game over for Kevin Dick. Not game over, but game over for his lead at least. He's going to have to work for it if he wants to stay in front of Tyler Seville.
I did not think we would see a battle for the race lead between the outright pace that we saw out of Kevin Dick and Tyler Seville giving up so much time running those extra laps. But now we're starting to see where that you kind of flip the script a little bit. Seville ran those extra laps last stint. He's not going to have to run them this stint.
Right there at a turn 2, you can see where Tyler Seville is gaining that time. He's driving like he's got nothing to lose. Kevin Dick is exiting turn 2, leaving about 1.5 foot, almost 2 feet to the wall, not using all the racetrack. Tyler Seville, I kind of winced and turned away. It looked like he was going to hit the wall. Damn near scratched the right rear tire against it. He is using every inch of this racetrack. And you can just see it in the lap times. You can see it in that gap shrinking. That is where he's picking up his time. Watch him go through turn number 2 again, the hardest turn on this circuit, and he's probably going to pick up another 1/10 or 2.
Yeah,
gap is at 1.9 now. Loses it in the mid-corner a little bit. That time, now that we're watching the time, doesn't pick up anything there.
Yeah, that particular time, you'd say to go looking for something. It's not there, but another big storyline that we haven't talked about yet, Johnny Avila not here for this race tonight.
Probably at some silly soccer game or something that's worth losing the championship over, I guess.
Could be. But this is round number 10. Both Kevin Dick and Johnny Avila have made every race this season. So once you factor the drop week in, there is no change. But Kevin Dick has won 2 stages tonight, could possibly pick himself up another race win this season, his 2nd of the year. Man, I don't know. I don't know with 2 races to go how you come back from that if you're Johnny Avila.
Yeah, he's going to have to be right on the money and hope the drop weeks play out right. I'm going to have to make another spreadsheet and see what he's got to do to get up there.
Yeah, I mean, we could be crowning a Summer Series champion in 2 weeks when we head off to the Richmond Raceway. Because I'll tell you what, at the rate that Kevin Dick is going, it is impressive what he's doing right now. And in fact, last lap, Tyler Seville was a tick faster, but a tick isn't going to get it done when you're 2 seconds back with 15 to go. Pick up the battle with AJ Digby and Mike Larch in the fight for the third position.
Yeah, Mike Larch right there in drafting range of AJ Digby, but it just seems like AJ Digby has the corners rolled out so much better than Larch. Digby, you can see him swooping down to that bottom line, slowly bringing the car back up, where Larch looks like he's jerking the car around a little bit more, and that's where he's losing the time.
Yeah, Pocono is a place that you really have to be smooth with, and a lot of times we talk about short tracks, it's easy to get into a rhythm in a place like Rockingham or Dover, where you'll get into a rhythm and it kind of happens pretty quickly. Pocono is so big, you can almost lose concentration down the front stretch or down the long pond straightaway, screw up a corner entry somewhere, and all of a sudden you're seeing what we have here. AJ Digby able to just pull a gap of 5 car lengths, just like it didn't, you know, there was no real mistake out of Mike Larch. It was small, but big enough that it made a big difference.
Yeah, and it's very easy to break your rhythm here. I know from experience in a 4-Drink Friday event that we ran here. There is enough time down that front straightaway in a Lotus 79. You can send out a text message or two, which I'm not saying any of these drivers are doing that. There's a lot more on the line in one of these events than there is at a 4-Drink Friday event. But that, if there's enough time to send the text message, there's enough time for your mind to wander, there's enough time for you to reach for the remote for the air conditioning, flip that on, and just kind of get out of your rhythm.
Tyler Seville is definitely in rhythm right now. He's closed the gap to 1.2 seconds. Getting really close to draft range here as we're down to 12 to go. As soon as we start talking about him, the gap starts to expand ever so slightly. Man, I'll tell you what, though, he cut out 2/10 there through turn 2. Going to be down to 1.1 seconds as they get to 3. Little bit loose through the mid corner allows Kevin Dick to pick a 10th back up, but interesting, looks like Kevin Dick possibly carrying more speed down the front straightaway.
Yeah, I was going to say Tyler Seville is in draft range, but it doesn't seem like he's able to pick up that time. It's kind of like he's stalled out here at about a second and a tenth or so.
Yeah, we're kind of interesting that we're seeing the gap. I mean, it shrinks, it expands, it shrinks, it expands. Down to 10 to go. I would think there's not any time left for Tyler Seville to be thinking about. I mean, I can't do the mental gymnastics to say I need to gain this much time over this many laps, and I'm going to pass him with 1 or 2 to go, so he doesn't get to come back on me.
Oh, I can absolutely do the mental gymnastics. Making my arms and legs do the things to make it actually work, though, that's a whole different style of gymnastics.
Well, the gap is 1.2 seconds with now 9 laps to go. AJ Digby holding a 1.1 second gap over Mike Larch. Only other real battle on the racetrack right now, at least in terms of a close-ish fight, is Justin Rideout and Hunter Waters for position number 7. You can also go back and pick up, let's see here, Richard Smith II and Troy Haight. And again, they're still about 8 to 10 car lengths apart. And this fight's down to about a quarter of a second here. Looks like Haight will be able to get this past. Whoa, we've got one around and into the outside wall. I believe that's Roger Rios. It is. He swings it around, and we have caution with 9 to go. Oh, buddy, drummer. Take a look at the NRN instant replay. See what happened to Roger Rios. Eerily reminiscent of Kurt Busch's crash here a couple of seasons ago. Car just stepped out loose in the middle of 3 and able to get the car fired back up, but that will put us under the caution. So now the question becomes, do you pit? Eight laps, it'll be 7 to go this time by. I think if you're Kevin Dick, Tyler Seville, AJ Digby, not a chance. Everybody from Andrew Moore on back, I'm saying smoke them if you got them. Everybody has a set of tires in the box.
If you got him and you're not the leader, why not pit? If you're the leader, I'm not sure I want to throw away that top spot.
Well, the problem is anybody... They're all coming down pit lane.
Oh man, it's time for the pit crews to show their magic.
Mike Larch, Justin Rideout decide to stay out. So does Troy Haight. Scott Wise isn't even to the entrance of pit lane yet. Wise, Lee Campbell come down pit lane. Roger Rios, I would think, is going to come down pit lane. But we're going to have 3 cars on, well, quite frankly, different ages of tires here, too. And does anybody take 2 tires? Close between Kevin Dick and Tyler Seville coming off a pit lane. Everybody taking 4 tires. Mike Larch, your new race leader, 25 laps on his tires. Justin Rideout running in the 2nd position, 32 laps on his tires. Troy Haight in the 3rd position, 23 laps on his set of Goodyears. And then you get to the dudes with fresh sneakers that have been the fastest all night long. Oh, is this going to be good? They will not get the 1 to go this time by either, as we do have cars that are a lap down. Maybe not. Dean Gagliano, Braden Carroll, both out of the race. Lee Campbell, Scott Wise, Roger Rios, they were all on the lead lap. I'm surprised more cars didn't stay out. Yeah, Field's going to get the 1 to go signal. a little bit surprising in some of the lane choices here because Kevin Dick has not had to run the outside lane at all tonight. He's kind of had choice of lane, and he's been down on the inside. Tyler Seville, on the other hand, who's been great on the outside, is now going to line up alongside teammate A.J. Digby. It'll be Larch and Rideout on the front row. Troy Haight, Kevin Dick, row 2. Tyler Seville, A.J. Digby, row 3. Row 4, Will Worsler and Andrew Moore Jr., Quentin Clark and Richard Smith II on the 5th row. Actually, it looks like Hunter Waters will be outside of row number 5. Richard Smith, Richard Fletcher on row 6. Row 7, Jeff Yenish and Jim Thorndike. I tell you what, Mizzle, if you're these three that are currently at the front, I love this call. You're going to have to hold them off for 5 laps, and what amounts to one great restart could get you a win.
Yeah, this track is so difficult to pass that you don't got to run away by a bunch, but if you run away just by a little bit, it's your race to lose.
Pace truck is in. Field will get down into the restart zone. Green flag goes back in the air. We are on the way one more time here at Pocono. Larch able to hold off Rideout. They're fanning out 3 wide towards turn number 1. Kevin Dick hung up on the outside behind Rideout. He's going to go 3 wide. 4 wide off the 1.
Still 4 wide going down Long Pond. 3 wide now. Oh, man.
Holy cow.
And Larch is out to an absolutely massive gap. Kevin Dick's going to be on the inside. He's going to move up to 2nd through turn number 2. But Larch is out there half a second up. Just has to hang on for 5 more laps. And Tyler Seville is coming up in the turn number 3.
Yeah, I don't know that Larch is going to have enough there.
Not enough to guarantee the win. He is hoping Kevin Dick and Tyler Seville start battling out for that 2nd spot, and he can just hang on. Diving down to the inside, trying to break the draft, but it's going to be tough. Tyler Seville and Kevin Dick, they might race for 2 different teams, but those guys are pretty good buddies, and right now they're being very friendly with one another. Tyler Seville into the wall, though, but side by side with Larch. Leaving him in the dust.
Now it's going to be Kevin Dick, Tyler Seville, A.J. Digby, your top 3.
Keep in mind that Tyler Seville has some damage now. He got into the wall off turn 1. A.J. Digby hungry for a win. He's going to try and make the move on Tyler Seville. And honestly, this might let Kevin Dick run away from it. Throw the checker flag now. I'm going to call this one right now. Kevin Dick is going to be your winner.
I don't know about that. Tyler Seville getting a great run as Digby sets a new fastest lap of the race. Seville inside of Dick to turn 1.
Seville has to back out of it. Dick is going to be clear off turn number 2, and he's going to have to run. Oh, man.
Kevin Dick bobbled off of turn number 1.
Still with the run, picking up a huge gap even with bobbling.
Digby giving Seville the shove down the Long Pond straightaway.
Seville's in the wall once again, but he is right on the rear bumper of Kevin Dick.
That was a huge moment again for Tyler Seville off of turn number 3. Hunter Waters up to position number 4. We were talking about him being long gone at the back of the field. Now Digby making the look inside of Seville off the 2. The gap up to 6/10 of a second. Now Digby around Seville for second. Man, Hunter Waters almost into the wall off of 2. These guys are pushing crazy hard right now. It'll be the white flag this time by and a half-second lead for Kevin Dick. 2.5 miles to go in the Pocono Mountains. Hunter Waters, new fastest lap of the race out of the 4th position.
Pocono Waters pulled out to try and make the move on Tyler Seville. Tyler Seville with a huge block.
There's Seville and Waters, as Waters is going to get the look into turn number 3. The gap's down to 4/10 of a second, but it won't matter. Off of turn 3, checkered flag is in the air, and Kevin Dick gets the win at Pocono. Tyler Seville holds on for 3rd. And Will Worsler sets a new fastest lap of the race. Fantastic show out of the Sim Racers Club Premier Series. And Kevin Dick is going to enjoy this one. Pulls off the sweep of the night. Fastest in practice. Wins the pole. Takes both stages and the checkered flag. Only the second, his second of the year. 5th time that's happened between the spring and summer seasons. Impressive drive tonight for Kevin Dick. While he comes around, let's show you our race results. By 4/10 of a second, Kevin Dick gets the win over A.J. Digby. He's trying to drift that car through turn 3, which is fantastic. Tyler Seville rounds out the podium. Hunter Waters and Andrew Moore Jr., the top 5. All Will Worsler and Pie-Eyed Racing here in the top 5 tonight. 6 through 10, Will Worsler, Jeff Yenish, Roger Rios, Mike Larch, and Richard Smith II. Jim Thorndike, Lee Campbell, Quentin Clark, Justin Rideout, and Richard Fletcher back through the 15th position. Troy Hates, Scott Wise, Dean Gagliano, and Braden Carroll. Drivers who completed tonight's race, or competed in tonight's race. Brad Allison did not start here this evening. On what could be a championship clinching night for Kevin Dick. An absolutely dominant performance. Came into the night with a 49-point advantage over Johnny Avila. 73 over Tyler Seville, 99 over Hunter Waters. Love the smoke pouring out from under the hood of that machine. Just parked all pretty there at the start-finish line.
As an engine builder, I also love that smoke. That means I get to make money.
Somebody get paid. I'll tell you what, giving us plenty of stuff to look at here, too, on the burnouts and all, but there we go. Let's pick up our, let's see which cameras we want to use for this one here. Yeah, we'll pick this one up. And we'll bring up our race winner tonight into the booth for the Victory Lane interview. And, man, I'll tell you what, Kevin, on a night that you had a chance to really kind of put, take control of the championship outright. Johnny's not here, and you complete the clean sweep. That was a dominating performance tonight. Congratulations. Talk us about the night from your perspective.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I had no clue Johnny wasn't going to be here tonight. So after seeing that, I knew I just needed to have a nice, clean night. Gain the stage points that I needed, and then just complete the night. I've been having really good luck with my stages lately, but the last couple of races I've sort of been struggling with the finish. So just been trying to finish that out. So got stage 1, but I knew it was going to be too soon to take tires at that point. So I wasn't quite sure what the tire wear was going to be. But after that first 10 laps, I knew we were going to be all right. So we'd ran that, got the second stage, and Tyler was right there. He was hounding me. He must have saved a little bit extra during that first stage. So I figured I'd pay it early and, just jump ahead that little bit, which it worked. I got 5.5 second lead, but then Tyler there pit, 5-6 laps later. And he was just, eating away at that lead lap after lap. And I was like, oh, God, did I make a mistake here or what?
Yeah, and about the worst thing you could have seen was that late caution flag, too, because it brings up the question of, do you pit, do you not? Whatever you do, everybody else isn't going to do. And ultimately, that kind of worked out in your favor, too. Everybody took the tires, and you really just got to work your way to the front again.
Yeah, I mean, you had to take tires. There were 4 laps there. I mean, we were about a second a lap slower. So if you didn't take tires or you took them during that first stage, you were done. I mean, I don't know where the first guy on who didn't take tires was there at the end, but I mean, that caution there for you was just bad, just bad luck. I don't know, no other way to say it.
Well, I'll tell you what, it was a fantastic show you guys put on tonight, and now you get an off week, and do you let the possibility of another championship start to settle in? Because we head to Richmond, we head to Michigan, 2 places you've been really strong at over the last couple of seasons.
Possibly. I mean, I like what we're doing. I like where I'm sitting with points. I mean, this is really going to solidify it, so I don't have to go crazy with the points anymore. I can pretty much just let it hang loose almost and just go for wins at this point. But I don't know. Just got to see what happens.
Well, I'll tell you what. We are going to enjoy the week off, but the last 2 are going to be pretty darn good as well. Kevin, thank you very much for coming up into the booth with us. Congratulations on picking up the sweep tonight. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous.
Yeah, give a shout out to the guys at iRacing and Andrew, who ran good today, so that's good. Shout out to Custom Paints at Diecast, Jordan, always painting great looking cars. To Jordan and Sam for running a great league, and then for you guys for putting on a great show.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate the kind words from you there, and congratulations once again on 2nd win of the season for Kevin Dick. And now we got to bring in the guy who had, quite frankly, a spectacular run to 2nd place tonight, AJ Digby. And I'll tell you what, at various times tonight, we're going, is he saving? Is just the pace not there? What's going on? And then all of a sudden, that last caution flag came out, and you kind of had to be licking your chops there, brother.
Yeah, it was a long race of back and forth. I was torn on strategy what to do at the very beginning because lap 10 is just so early. I didn't want to take a set of tires, and so I decided to just drop back and save as much as I could on the tires, and thought that I was making the right decision. And then nearly the entire field didn't take tires, and it was at that moment that I knew that I was in a bad spot because I came in to take top off on fuel, thinking everybody else is going to take tires. I'll come out in front. The same strategy I was going to do, just with full fuel. And instead, a lot of people didn't take tires, and I just ended up coming out at the back of a large group of cars that also didn't. So I had to pick my way up through the field the rest of the time. Got up to third on that long run after the green flag pit stops, and I was really good on the middle of the long runs and was really happy with it. I also knew I had speed in the short runs, but the way I was driving it was more apt for the long runs. And then that last caution came out, and I knew that it would give me a chance, but also give me a chance in chaos. So, but I was able to work through traffic, and then was just trying to help Tyler to be up there towards the front, and I think he just ended up having a little bit too much front end damage to hurt the both of us. But all in all, I am very happy with second. I know I could have had a shot for the win. Kevin was super fast all night, but I know I could have had a little bit of a shot had I just been a little bit more aggressive with it. But all in all, I can be very happy with second here.
Well, yeah, and especially on a night you pick up a new sponsor on the car, Gas Disc Golf Club. Cool, pretty cool to have those guys on board, and feel free to talk about them a little bit here too.
Yeah, my cousin Kevin Vollmer and some of his friends, who are inadvertently some of my friends through association, started this nonprofit in 2021, and it's a nonprofit disc golf club. And just decided to put them on the car, change it up a little bit. Still have the UMU Esports as always on the car, but picked up the Guest Disc Golf, and they do a lot of good things to promote disc golf for the community in the Northwest Ohio area. Different tournaments, a couple different courses and course renovations that they've been able to do. So it's a nonprofit that I enjoy as obviously my cousins. And so decided to promote them a little bit today and switch it up a little bit on the car. I feel like I've had bad luck the last couple of races, and so wanted to try to change it up. And so far, 1 for 1. It's been good.
Well, congratulations on the runner-up finish here tonight, AJ. And before we let you go, do any of the other the big sponsor plugs and thank yous you want to get in there too.
Yeah, the other big thing I wanted to say today is that today is my grandpa's first birthday without being here with us. So it was a little bit of a heavy heart today, but running a little bit with a little bit more passion on my sleeve in this race, and I think it for sure helped me out. So we miss him, but his memory's with us forever. And definitely got to thank the teammates. Those guys always keep it light in the chat room and help keep you focused on the race and having fun and things like that, helping with strategy calls. And Tyler obviously finished third. I think Hunter came back and got fourth in the end, Will in sixth. And all in all, it was a really good day for the Will Warser Racing team. And so got to thank those guys, you guys up in the booth, for doing a great job broadcasting every single week. I love watching these things, and everybody that watches and supports this series on your streams, and then everybody who races in the series, Sam and everyone for running it. I know that's a lot, but that's a little bit of the rundown. So thanks to everybody who helps to let this thing work and let this thing function the way that it does.
All right, buddy. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang up with us here in the booth for a couple of minutes. Congratulations on a really good run to second, and a guy who I called would be our race winner with 3 laps to go, ultimately coming up just a tiny bit short, Mr. Tyler Seville. And I'll tell you what, I guess a little bit of damage is kind of what did you in there at the end, but congratulations on it. That was a fantastic show you put on. I thought Kevin was going to run away with it until the pit stops happened, and then, man, you were closing really quick.
Yeah, but I should have backed it down a little bit, because I think when I got to around like 1.5 seconds behind him, my right rear was just gone, and at that point it was holding on. But it would have taken a Hail Mary effort to get him there, and then I kind of shit the bed on that last restart there. And I was trying to shuffle behind AJ to try to help him out, but it just didn't work. But big congrats to Kevin on the win there.
Yeah, it seemed like a really interesting night, because I was thinking that you were going to have to cover Kevin on the pit stop cycle. And ultimately, the call really was to wait it out those extra 5 laps. Gave up a little bit of time there, but in the end, having those fresh tires the later we got in the run was really pretty key to you moving up on them.
Yeah, at the end, before that green flag pit stops, like, the car gets pretty gnarly there coming out of the corner. So I was like, if I could just hold off and then be on attack mode more the second half, I would prefer that, because I feel like I could do 30 laps easy rather than try to do 35 or 40 laps, which is what I think Kevin and some other people ended up doing until that last caution.
Yeah, it was interesting to watch how it all played out, and you kind of talked us through that final restart. But did you ever give consideration to not doing what Kevin did? If he came down pit road, you stay out. If he stays out, you come down.
It would have been an option if I had saved more tire. But when I tried to run him down, I don't think it would have been any question, because I think you see where even the Michael Larch, who stayed out, he ended up 9th. So I didn't think that was a race-winning call. And being P2 to Kevin, if I thought it could have been a race-winning call, then maybe, but I didn't think at that point it was, not with the speed he had.
Yeah, it was it was an interesting race all the way around. And quite frankly, we got the strategy we're used to seeing at Pocono, just not the fuel strategy that we're used to seeing. But congratulations on the 3rd place finish tonight here, Tyler. And before we let you go, do all the big sponsor plugs and thank yous for us again.
Yeah, shout out to Chubby's my sponsor. Shout out to my teammate AJ Hunter and Will had good runs. Shout out to Richard Fletcher too. Shout out to Johnny. Hope he's at home watching. Shout out to Sam for the league and you guys for the broadcast.
All right, brother. Well, thank you much. We appreciate you coming to hang out with us here in the booth for a couple of minutes. And, man, I'll tell you what, Biz, like I said to Tyler, we got the strategy, just not the way we were expecting to. And then all of a sudden it was like, man, we've got a really good race on our hands.
Yeah, it's not typical of Pocono, which is a shame to say, but this is not usually a very racy racetrack. This is one of the tracks where the crew chief makes the big bucks, and the driver is just kind of the guy that sits there and holds the steering wheel. But tonight, we got to see the drivers have an absolutely fantastic battle here at Pocono, which I love to see, and I hope we can see more of this in the future here at this track. It being my home track, no matter back when I was living right outside of New York City or down here in Pennsylvania, Pocono has always been home, and hopefully we can see some more fantastic racing out of this place.
Yeah, I was really impressed tonight. Seeing these guys able to go 2, 3, and at times 4 wide around Pocono is almost unheard of. And we got just a spectacular show out of the Sim Racers Club guys here tonight. And now it's time for us to, well, enjoy the week off with the rest of the Sim Racers Club crew, as they will be taking next Wednesday night off. But first, we've got a show coming up tomorrow night from Interlagos, the Autodromo Jose Carlos Pache, for the U.S. Open Wheel doubleheader. That'll be the C-Class cars at 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, followed up at 10 p.m. by the Stars and Cars of the U.S. F2000 D-Class Series. Coming back on Monday night, 9:45 p.m. in the East, the Silver Crown Cup heads off to Dover, Delaware, for what should be a pretty darn good race there as well. But with that, time for Bizzle and I to get the heck on out of here now. This was a great show tonight. Looking forward to a pretty good weekend this weekend here. It'll be the A-Team on the call tomorrow night. Bizzle and James Watson in the booth. I will be off in the middle of nowhere, Pennsylvania, working a music festival for the weekend, so I've got to get out of the town here a little bit early. But with that, time for us to get the heck on out of here. For Patrick and everybody else here at the National Racing Network that makes these shows happen, my name is Chris Graham. Thank you so much for coming to hang out with us, and we will talk to you all soon. Have a great night, everybody.